And we're live.
Hello.
We don't have our names on today. Our names aren't showing up. Our names are Am I Wrong today?
Yeah. Are you wrong based on your name or based on that you don't have a name? Could be both. What you doing? Are you checking to make sure we're live?
Yeah. We're live. I'm just going to share it.
You're so good at stuff like that. I'm wrong because I'm not.
You're wrong because you don't do that.
I am. I'm like, I used to think I was really wrong with how I promoted and how I did. And since then, I've realized I just am very different with how I approach all things promotion and marketing and media.
So this is funny. So you're saying you used to feel wrong about the way you did it, right? And then I used to feel I was wrong in the way I did it because sometimes I think I push too much or I work too much or I do too much and I'm constantly doing, and I'm constantly moving and working and doing different things. So I've always been like judging myself for that and not being more relaxed. And then looking at people like you being like, they have so much ease with creation.
Yeah. I mean, for a really long time, I thought I just sucked at it and I didn't know how to do it. And I didn't do anything. I wasn't doing anything. So like, it's so funny to even have that be part of this conversation because it's exactly that is the whole thing. Like this conversation around being wrong. Like, am I wrong? The question in your world that most of us live with kind of 24/7 is, am I wrong? Where am I actually wrong here? Like most of us spend, well, let me ask you, how much of your time do you actually spend a day?
Sorry.
Like, you're fine. Navigating, like, based on how wrong you are compared to everything going on around you. Like how much of the dialogue in your head is like, well, I don't do it that way, so I must be wrong. Or I didn't say something the way that person liked, so I must be wrong. Or, I didn't promote that thing. I didn't do enough. I did too much. Like,
that's like, so funny. Isn't that all comparison?
Well, it's where you use your awareness of your environment and everything around you completely against you in totality. And you have some idea that you should, in order for you to be valuable or for you to be like right or correct or doing the right thing, that it has to match anyone else around you. It's the biggest lie that we've all been sold and that we've all bought and then perpetrated on ourselves, is that we're like anyone else. You're not like anyone else. So that lie, the very beginning, that lie of you're like other people, is the basis of where we start to make ourselves wrong based on everything that we're aware of. So our awareness can't actually be the gift that it is. It ends up being this friggin' curse that you have to constantly live up to or try to hide or try to change or just make you wrong about. And the conversation that I love about this is like, what if some of those areas where you have been insidiously making yourself wrong, it's a strongness. It's actually the gift you are on the planet. And what if you stopped making yourself wrong?
That's, you just said so much there and all that, like that piece of like that, how different you are, like the point of view that like you're actually like anyone else is like the basis of what you use to judge yourself and make yourself so wrong. And like, that's why I said about the comparison, because like how much, when you do something, you go, oh, well, you compare yourself to other facilitators or to how other people are creating their businesses or to whatever it is, to other people's bodies, how other people eat, how other people are doing their relationship. And it's all the basis, like what you're saying is like, you're different. How you do everything is so different. But that's like the ultimate lie we're sold, is that we're not different. We're supposed to be the same.
Exactly. This is a conversation that comes up a lot in the Access X-Men body of work, because so many people who are wired differently we lovingly call them X-Men, but like people that are wired differently, you can't be the same as everyone else. Most of us have figured out how to fake it pretty well, but deep down, we know we're not like everyone else, and we do not see the world like everyone else, and we don't function the same as everyone else. And so it's this lifelong trudgery of, fuck, I'm just wrong, because I look around and no one else here sees what I see, perceives what I perceive, acts the way I act, chooses what I choose. Like you said, has the body I have, like what my body desires and requires. I mean, that's one of the areas for me personally. It's been such a struggle to actually be aware and know what it is that I know that my body has been asking for, like that I know my body desires, and be with that energy. Most of the time I'm just making myself wrong for the thing. I'm probably much more aware of my body than I've ever given myself credit for, but I'm so busy making myself wrong about what I'm aware my body is asking for, because it matches nothing here. And it doesn't even just match nothing, but it maybe even it is like what my body wants is the thing everybody tells you your body's not supposed to have. So then what do? Like, fuck. Then
or it doesn't make sense. Like it's not logical.
I mean, and just like as an example, my body really loves the sun, like really loves the sun. And I have something that I started getting like in middle school called vitiligo, where I basically, like, you can see it. I have areas that don't have pigment and I have areas that have pigment. And so for a lot of years, it was like, don't go in the sun, because this actually will like burn. And then it'll just go back to white. It doesn't ever get pigment. And for a lot of years, I avoided the sun and wasn't out in the sun. And then I had someone just, mention to me, the world, the universe does do its best to give you what you're asking for. I don't ever listen to it, but it does do its best. But somebody like just mentioned to me, like, what if what if sun was a therapy to you, to your skin? And I was like, it was so just like, all of a sudden I had this permission to choose that. And I don't spend like a ton of time in the sun, and I can literally tell my body will be like, okay, and we're done, get out of the sun. And I know what that, I can perceive that really easily. But if I spend, an hour a day in the sunshine, like, I am so much more happy. My body's so much happier. Like my skin is just, it's just amazing and wonderful. But like, that's just one example of all these things we do to disregard and disavow what it is that we know, simply because it doesn't match what everybody else is telling you or what you're seeing in the world. And some of those areas are actually areas where you have capacities, talents, and abilities that are so unique to you, you're not going to see them anywhere, which is where the whole, what if every wrongness is actually a strongness comes from. That whole conversation around that. Because the strongness that you be most likely will not be present in the world unless you choose it.
So what about, Cara, like, so if there's something like that you've been judging about yourself heavily for many years and others have also judged you for, so say like, I know, in the run up, because so Cara is doing like a free telecall this week on this subject, am I wrong? And she had asked us in a Skype thread that we're in, like, what are like your 3 top wrongnesses, like the 3 things, or like your 5 top like things you make yourself most wrong for. And one of the things that you said that I also was like, oh yeah, that's top of my list too. Like I have a couple of them, but one of them was like being direct, like being too direct, like too upfront, and almost like, actually when my now husband, when he first met me, he called me abrasive. And I had to look up the meaning, and it's like, and I was like, oh, I am that. Like, I am very, direct to the point. Like, I say it kind of as it is. And that has been judged a lot growing up. Like, I was told I was, too direct. I said too much. I was too harsh. I was all these things. And I've also judged it as well.
Yep.
Yeah. So can, like, if it, you say everyone who's listening, we all have something that we've judged really badly and tried to like kind of like not do it, you know, like squash it, and then other people have judged it in us. How do we get to their like strongness in that?
So first of all, like being willing to really look at what are those things that you judge so intensely in yourself that it's palpable. Like for me, that particular one of being too direct or being intimidating or being like aggressive, like that bitch, cunt, like that one is like a big one. And every time it comes up, and even like when I will say something, because it's not like I mentally go, I'm going to be direct now.
Yeah.
I say, like, I perceive it a particular way, and I have a way of just saying it and a lot of people will take it that way. And so I actually, most of us, the things I think that we really glom onto and like judge ourselves really intensely about is the things that make other people uncomfortable, and we perceive them being uncomfortable or them having a point of view about it or them misinterpreting it. And then that is like, that's the first time we actually realize like, oh, I might have just been different. If we looked at it and going like, I might have addressed that differently. Then instead of going like, oh, look at what I've created here, I shouldn't have done that. That's like the beginning of making ourselves wrong about something. Because really, like that particular capacity, and it is a capacity, it's taken me a long time to see it as that, it's a level of clarity and congruency and energy that people are not, like, they're not used to it. Very few people will just be like this and say something exactly how it is without a lot of like filters, without a lot of barriers, without a lot of like dancing around. Like it's just like boom. And like to me, it's one of the most comfortable things in the world. To other people, apparently it's not. So it's like, first of all, it's like catching those things that it's almost like you are more aware and you're making more relevant how people respond to you than what you're actually contributing. And then when you go into the making yourself wrong based on it, and it can be different for everyone what those things are. This is just one example that Amy and I tend to have in common. But it's like, first of all, acknowledging that it's occurring. And when you have something that has that much charge, when you're making yourself really, 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 really wrong for something, one of the things that Dane here has been saying a lot more recently is like, if you have that much charge and intensity on something, it's because it's not yours. You like, if it was really something that was inherent to you, you wouldn't have to build up that much energy around it to keep it in place. So also starting to really be aware of that, like, wow, there's a lot here. What am I trying to buy that's not true? And one of my favorite things that I use a lot is what's right about me, I'm not getting. And what's right about this, I'm not getting. And that also starts to kind of undo a little bit of where we've like stuck ourselves with massive intensity around these fun little areas that we've made ourselves so wrong that we can't even see what the strongness is in it. So
wow, it's a big topic, Cara.
It's a very big topic. I'm really excited about the call. It's going to be a free Zoom. You will have a chance to also answer or ask your questions as well. So that will be really cool, because like, what if there were things that, so like, do you have what are the top 3 things that you make yourself wrong for consistently? And if your universe no longer had to keep those in place, what could you create? Like, how much more freedom would you have? How much more joy? Could you show up differently?
Yeah.
Choose differently? Like, it's a big topic. And what would it take for X-Men especially to have much more freedom and be able to choose what works for them without having to do the computation of whether it's right or wrong to choose it?
And that's a big piece of the, key to the kingdom is like coming out of the right and wrong.
Yes. Yeah, I
Like,
mean, X-Men, we're like masters at computation, right?
if I do this, then this will happen.
Yep. And we go into the future, and we go into the past, and we're in the present, we're all over the place, and all the things. Like, so, like, I'm really excited to start to look at, like, what if you really truly were willing to get out of the wrongness of you and actually embrace the capacities that you have, even if no one else on the planet has them, even if you are completely unique unto yourself.
And even if everyone else says it's wrong.
Yeah, because so many people, and also it's like, how many people automatically, there's so many people in the world that are energetically aware of things, and they're responding energetically to things, and they don't even realize they're actually doing it. So it's like, how many of those people respond when you are actually choosing something that is strong about you, and you're not actually making you wrong for it? How much of what you're aware of is where they would love to choose that for them, but they haven't chosen it yet. So how much that, so it's like, it is very insidious. And I wonder what else is possible.
Yeah, like if Cara and B like went beyond the wrongness of being direct, what would we create in the world?
Exactly. We can't go beyond, we can't go beyond that.
I'm already a lot beyond.
Can't be a strongness. I used to always think it used to confuse me, and I've always been accused of being like intimidating or intense, or always, and I would be like, I'm like little, I've always been little, I'm in this little body, and I'm like, I don't understand how I am like
I know,
intimidating to people. I just don't get it. And again, it's like, what if where you're different is actually what creates you as the massive creator on the planet you could be, and everywhere you twist it into wrongness is where you're just limiting you and stopping what you could create on the planet. And I don't know about anyone here, but I think a lot of people are really ready to actually choose what they came here to create. Like, we all came here knowing we were going to be and have and create something. So is now the time for you to actually choose it.
Go beyond the wrongness. Yeah.
So
I'm excited.
Me too.
This Wednesday, if you can be on live, great. Register. I post the link in the comments here. So you can register, and if you can't be on live, you'll get the replay. So just register whether you can be on live or not.
And we are going to have some languages translated.
Oh yeah.
We're going to have Spanish, which will be actually it'll be a translation you'll get a recording of. We're going to have Portuguese, Romanian, and possibly Russian. So,
oh wow, I didn't know all that.
So, yeah, great. So we're going to be having some different languages as well. Like, what would the world look like if we were willing to get out of where we are wrong and actually start embracing the strongness of us? So I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for watching, everyone.
See you.
Bye.